Hey guys, it is Russ, and this is She Wolf Alchemy, and Happy New Year. So, there's a chance that y'all about to hear the next 3 or 4 or 5 episodes start off with Happy New Year because while we were on our break, we were recording, and this is like my 4th episode I've been recording this week alone. And so, I'm not sure which one's gonna be the first one. So, if y'all, for the next like 2 months, y'all like, why does every episode start with Happy New Year? Okay, this is what we're working with. But today we're going to talk about the recognition that you did something that low key betrayed yourself. And for some of us, even felt like destroyed us a little bit. And that slow, agonizing pain of realizing, wait, I did that all for nothing. Don't worry, I'm going to go into a little bit more detail because there is a specific type of pain that comes from realizing you did everything you were supposed to do. You did it what they told you was the right way. You were patient, you gave grace, you were understanding, you waited, you stayed, you endured, you put in a type of work that nobody else out there was putting in. You gave love and support to people when no one else was giving them love and support. You stayed true. And at some point, you looked around and you realized you did not get the love, the praise, the recognition that you deserve. You didn't get the loyalty. You didn't get the safety. Hell, you didn't even get the peace. And that's when that realization hits you. I destroyed myself for nothing. I put myself through all this hard stuff for the love of it, for the love of the game, for doing what I thought was right, for so many things. But amongst all that, you thought at the end of the day, they'll see my heart. And maybe they didn't. Or at the end of the day, you thought, but I'm going to get my just rewards. And maybe you did it. Or maybe not the ones that you thought. Maybe, yep, you got the promotion. Maybe, yep, you got the money. Maybe, yep, you got the title. But it didn't come with the real loyalty. Or it didn't come with people recognizing how much you had to put in, how much you got to destroy yourself, how much you got to abandon to get that. You got your little hand claps and then everybody was done. You kept telling yourself, this is going to be a lesson, this is going to be a lesson. And now you're looking back and you're like, fuck, did I just spend 5 years of my life on a scam? There's going to be this like bitter realization, right? Where, you kind of have to deal with the shock of realizing that payoff feels bitter and not so much sweet. Especially when like, you're like, damn, I followed the code. Whatever that code is. And you can apply this to anything. For some people, this is how they feel about love. Like, dang, I really put my all into it. And I did not get the love I put in back. For some of us, this is about work. This is that, like, I put my time, my effort, I sacrificed personal relationships, I sacrificed my mental health. I put blinders on everything that wasn't this goal. And y'all out here trying to crown somebody else. Y'all out here giving out promotions, high fives, and telling other people who did not put in half the work I did, good job. You did it, you succeeded, and all my effort is going by the wayside. This can be about a passion, a project that you've been doing that you're like, I am doing it. I'm putting the time, I'm putting the effort, and it's just not being picked up. Apply it to wherever it matters. There is a pain that comes with recognizing that the payoff is not what you thought. And you did things the right way. You followed the rules. You were persistent. You were patient. You put in effort. You did not slack off. Oh gosh, and don't let you have to watch somebody that did not put even a quarter of that in, then get the payoff that you were promised. There's a grief of realizing your efforts did not translate into care or protection. And there is some heartache that can come with recognizing, oh, wait, there is a difference between growth and exploitation. And I think this was actually just exploitation. And it sucks when you realize you confused the two. And I'm just here to say that, like, you're not crazy for a lot of you, you actually really, really tried. And it sucks that the outcome still feels hollow. But the truth of the matter is, there's a lot of things that over time I think we just realize were lies sold to us, right? I don't know about y'all, but I feel like most of my adulthood was just discovering what things I had to unlearn and what things were sold to me that were just straight up lies. Because, you're kind of told early on, be patient, give grace, everything happens for a reason. You're so strong. This is going to build your character, blah, 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 blah. And I don't believe that the phases that we have to go through are like evil, but it can start to feel dangerous when it feels like these phases are being used to keep us silent when we're already being drained. When you keep getting that you are so strong, but you're not getting rewarded. And here's the thing, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be rewarded. I know sometimes, especially if you go over the spiritual side on social media, people be like, you just do it for the love. You guys are looking for rewards. Your rewards are in heaven. Y'all know how I feel about religion. I'm not going to go on that topic because I know a lot of y'all have religions and I'm not trying to ruffle no feathers. But I'm personally a believer of it's okay to want to be rewarded for the hard work that you've done. It's okay to feel like it's unfair that I put in all this work, I put in all this effort, I put in all this time, and I expected something good to return to me from that. It doesn't make you a bad person. Just to be like, yo, I'm tired of having character building moments. I did not sign up for the no benefits package. I did not sign up for reoccurring anxiety with no end at sight. It is okay to have anger at the situation, to have anger at yourself, but without the shaming. Hell, have anger at the system, the person, the role you were put in. That's okay. That's normal. That is human. I personally am not a huge, positive only psychology type person. I personally am under the belief that feelings are on a spectrum and we're meant to feel the full spectrum of emotions. And so, yeah, that means that sometimes we are going to have angry moments. We're going to have sad moments. I think sometimes we're told no, don't let that be sad. Make that make you tougher. Don't let that make you angry. Use that to build on forth. And yeah, you can do that too, but you're allowed to stop and go, but I'm actually angry. And so before I become tougher, before I use this to build more, and do better and choose better and blah, 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 it's okay for me to sit and recognize that I am angry. Now, what did they say in the show American Gods? Anisi? Anger gets shit done. It's like you don't have to bypass it. You don't have to be grateful for the pain that did not transform you. You do not owe appreciation to suffering that only made you feel smaller. It is okay to look at a situation and say, no, that wasn't worth it. And I want to change directions. I want to change roles. I don't want to entertain this anymore. I don't want to be here anymore. Sometimes anger redirects you. I had a particular situation where I had to do a lot of healing in this situation. This situation required me, and now I'm not going to give y'all details. I'm not giving y'all all the tea. I can't do that. First of all, too many people from back home and currently know me in real life keeps fighting the podcast. So I'm not going to give y'all all the tea. But there was a particular situation. This was years ago, years and years and years ago. But there was a particular situation that it felt like a really good opportunity. It felt like a really, really good opportunity. And the situation taught me a lot about myself. And so I put a lot of time into this thing, a lot of effort. It required me to have a lot of growth. It made me learn a lot of things about myself. It made me have to take accountability for certain things. And I did grow in this situation, right? And I was working towards something else. And I was like, okay, because I'm going to work hard and because I think this is the direction I'm going to go with. And I know the checklist. I know what the things I have to do. And so I did the checklist. I corrected myself. I unlearned some things and then relearned better ways and strategies to be as a human being so I could show up and prove that I was in this for real, that I deserved this thing. And it almost felt like the more patient and more graceful and the more I grew, the more knowledge I gave, the more I put in, the more it felt like the people involved started to play with me. And what I mean by that, it was like, oh, wow, she is capable of so much more. I wonder how much we can get out of her. I wonder how much we can get at this level because she doesn't know how good she is yet. She doesn't know how valued she is yet. And the reason I say good and valued she is because, am I being cocky? Yes, a little bit. I love me. Outside of my daughter, I'm like my favorite person. So yeah, a little bit. But also because when I was like, oh, I see what this is, I'm done. When I tell you for years, these people try to come back and, hey, hey, you know, what's going on with you? And hey, we're just keeping so proud of you. Hey, do you want to come back? Do you want to? No. Because remember, y'all wanted to play games. But I got to a point where I was working so hard on this thing and we're coming to this point where it was like, okay, there should be some rewards happening, right? There should be some promotions happening, right? There should be some like, yo, this whole thing worked out so well because of you and because of your efforts. In fact, this whole thing couldn't have survived if you did not sacrifice our sleep, your mental health. Lord knows my mental health, time. And I remember getting to this point where it's like, I had to start asking questions because I'm like, what are y'all doing? Because I was told by now decisions would have been made. I was told by now that I would have been rewarded, put in the positions, been paid for the things I've worked hard for, the things I have put y'all onto, the things that only y'all are now benefiting from. I'm so exhausted, I ain't benefiting from shit. And I remember the exact conversation. I remember the faces as I'm having the conversation where I called it out like, what is going on? And they started to BS, right? They started to kind of be like, well, no, it's not that. It's just, and the weird is just really weird right now. And there's some things we're kind of looking at and, oh gosh. And let me tell y'all, they brought up motherhood and they're like, and you're a mom. And so, we really didn't take in consideration that. And if you were to be able to handle things and then how this would affect us and da. Keep in mind, I was a mom the whole time. It was handling things perfectly well, astonishingly well. And I remember just drifting off because I was like, yep, I'm leaving. Today's going to be my last day. Today's going to be like, I remember in the middle of that conversation, me kind of looking around and going, what all do I have here? Because when I leave, I'm not coming back. I'm taking all my shit. Everything will be gone. Everything will be gone. And I remember being so hurt and trying not to cry in the middle of this conversation because I really was like, I literally did everything I asked. I went above and beyond for what y'all asked. And while all these good things are happening, y'all are loving it and y'all are praising it. And y'all are like, yes, this is exactly what we want. Oh my gosh, this is better than I want. This is so amazing. This is so amazing. And then when I sit there and ask, okay, when will I be compensated? When will I get the things I was promised for delivering? And now all of a sudden y'all have concerns and questions after benefiting so much. And I went home and I cried all the way home. And I cried about it for months. For months, I felt so used and I felt so stupid. And I remember feeling like lied to. And I remember trying to go over everything. And I remember for a while, y'all, when I say for a while, I mean for a while, I went through a phase where I was like, I made it my fault. And I was like, well, what could I have done better? Where could I have done differently? And the truth of the matter is, it was just not fair. That's all it was. It was just a situation where, again, I betrayed and destroyed myself for nothing. I was so emotionally, energetically, mentally, physically a wreck by the end of this thing because I was trying to prove I could do it. And it was for nothing. And I was brought up, told, like, as long as you do it and you do the effort, you show the results, you're going to be rewarded. And that was that big girl moment of me recognizing like, oh, it's not guaranteed. But sometimes, nope, it just sucked. And we just wish we would have never had to go through it at all. And that's okay. That is perfectly okay that it sucked. And I wish I did not have to go through that at all. It's okay to look at a situation and go, yeah, that wasn't worth it. And I will never put myself through that again. Because there's some situations that like rewire the way our brain works, right? We talked about the body keeps the score. Because there can be physical and nervous system consequences for some of the things we had to endure. There can be sexual shutdown or numbness that comes with some of the heartbreaks that we experience. Fatigue that rest does not fix. Anxiety that appears out of nowhere. Irritability, disassociation, brain fog. Like our bodies can sometimes just literally just start protesting when our values have been ignored for too long. And that's what it feels like when you start to abandon yourself for something. Oh, and don't let you abandon yourself for something that does not work. Oh, God, don't let yourself abandon yourself for a relationship that does not work. Where you're like, I made my needs so small to try to make this thing work. And it still didn't. I took care of all your needs. I made sure you were good. I made sure life was easy for you. You walked around smiling. I walked around exhausted. And I did all of that just for this to still not work. I did all that just for you to still lie or maybe cheat. Or maybe they did none of that. Maybe they just never rose up to the occasion to be the person that they kept promising you were going to be. And this is why, and I want y'all to hear me very clearly, because I'm not just talking mental health. I'm not just talking relationships. I'm not just talking job shit. I want y'all to hear me very clear. This is why abandoning who you are is never worth it. Self-abandonment and destroying yourself is never worth the supposed prize they say that you will get. Because let's say you do get the rewards, at some point, your body is going to recognize that you are not listening to it. You are not listening to its signals, and so it needs to give you bigger signals. And this can look like I keep having a breakdown, crying spells, all the time that I cannot control. Nothing's even going on. I don't even think I'm being triggered. I am having consistent crying spells. I am so tired. There's not enough B12 in the world to combat the fact that I get brain fog, and I feel exhausted, and I'm having huge anxiety attacks. I have moments of just complete deep unhappiness and unrest. It's because there is no peace for those who abandon what they know they're not supposed to get into, who abandon themselves and what they know they're not supposed to get into the things that they know they do not align with. And look, your body's not being dramatic. It's being honest. Usually we are the ones that are lying. The body knows when the cost is just too high. So that is how we end up at these turning point moments, right? There can sometimes be these moments where we stop asking, what did this teach me? And start asking, what will I never do again? This is that clarity that comes after the disappointment. Because once you make that realization, self-betrayal becomes harder once you see it clearly for what it is. And you don't try to reframe it, because that's the thing, right? We talk about reframing. Your therapist has probably talked to you about reframing. But here's the thing with reframing. You got to ask yourself, what am I reframing? Because yes, it's good to reframe your inner critic that tells you you suck, you're not great, you don't know how to do this thing, you're going to fail. Nah, let's reframe that. I don't know how to do this thing, but I can learn. That's a beautiful reframe. But what you want to be careful with is trying to reframe the lessons you're meant to actually let stick and learn. Don't tell yourself, well, that wasn't self-betrayal. That was just me kind of lollygagging. No, that was self-betrayal. And that's okay, beloved. Sit with that. It sucked. Now let's never do that again. Realizing that it was for nothing does not mean you are doomed. Hell, it means you're awake now. So you might be asking, all right, Ras, well then what do I do? Step one, name the contract that you were living under. If it was love that you abandoned yourself for, the new contract can be, I will be patient and I will eventually be loved. If it was a situation which you gave your all and you got left out in the dust, the new contract will be, I will be safe. If it was, I put in my all and they still chose somebody else, they still promoted someone else, it will be, I know my worth and my worth will be recognized. You can stop forcing meaning into pain. Not everything needs to be reframed as a blessing. Sometimes the lesson is simply do not do that again. That's it. Do not do that again. I will not fall for that again. I will not allow myself to have that type of pain again. And that's all. And that's okay. Step 3, redirect your energy towards self-loyalty. You can ask yourself, what would it look like to protect myself the way I protected everybody else? What would it look like to stop auditioning for safety and just create my own? Lastly, let anger become information instead of self-punishment. You can use anger to clarify boundaries if you want. Anger is not the enemy. The abandonment is. So, if you had got to the point where you say, I betrayed and destroyed myself for nothing, that doesn't make you weak. That means that you were in a timeline where you were being lied to, whether it was by others or by yourself. And it honestly was painful. But you are now in a spot where you can begin self-loyalty in a way that is prosperous, in a way that is safe, in a way that is healthy. If you take anything from today's episode, let the closing mantra be, you do not need to be grateful. You need to be free. So, welcome in to 2026. Y'all almost said 2016. Look, I keep hearing everybody saying summer 2016 was like that year. Like that was like, oh, that's the year. I was pregnant summer 2016. I was pregnant. I wasn't out here wilding. It was a very sit your ass down and write these papers, because I was in grad school at the time as well too, for me. But apparently the rest of y'all was living. Apparently the rest of y'all was out here having the time of y'all life. So maybe that'll be a good thing. Anyways, you hear the sound of me and the girl's voice. In the upcoming new year, we'll have a new episode for you guys next Sunday. We hope you enjoy. And bye.